Hello everyone, welcome and thank you for attending today's IBM Middleware User Community webcast. My name is Kelsey Lammers and I'll be hosting today's webcast. Our topic for today is why Maximo users need to consider IBM Control Desk. All phone lines are currently in listen-only mode. There will be a question and answer session towards the end of the presentation. However, you may ask a question at any time during the presentation using the questions window located in the control panel. Also look for a form link in your chat box and feel free to continue any discussions after the webcast in this forum. Tomorrow we will have the recording and slides of today's presentation available on the IBM Middleware User Community website for you to access. You will receive a follow-up email with a link to the archives. Now I'd like to introduce our speaker for today. We have joining us Christy Leidenbach, Director of Professional Services with Interlock Solutions. Thank you, Christy, for joining us today. The floor is now yours.
Good afternoon, everyone. So we're going to be doing a presentation on IBM Control Desk. So let's get my screen showing correctly. Okay. All right, so again, we're going to be going through the IBM Control Desk, touching on the majority of the functionality within Control Desk, but doing so at a very high level. Then we'll actually get into the system and take a look at offerings and how they apply to the self-service center. In the current world, IT faces more responsibilities. Besides managing and operating current information systems, IT staff are assigned to new project implementations, generating more overhead. Some of the tasks that are faced by IT professionals on a day-to-day basis are reacting and solving incidents, user satisfaction, the release of new applications, capacity management of IT systems, and change and configuration management of the infrastructure. Gartner estimates that self-reported problems cost up to 100 times less than operations at a call center or monitored email account. So the goal needs to be to make the user's interface in the service catalog intuitive, simple, and quick. If a user perceives a user-oriented approach with quick response from IT systems, that user will use it as the preferred method of contact. A self-service portal should provide quick reference for the user. By using graphics and good guidance in the interface, the users can then request services with ease. So community engagement is a cornerstone of effective customer service. Because IBM Control Desk is a unified solution, moving or upgrading to this version provides the following advantages. Enhanced usability and user interfaces, which helps increase productivity with new left navigation, simplified interfaces for key applications, asynchronous validation, an all-new calendar, updated rich text editing, type ahead, and tightened consistency. Extra features are also applicable for mobile devices. Unified product benefits help to reduce restrictions that prevent users from working as needed across the functional areas. All users can have access to the product functions that they require. A single install maintenance stream reduces installations and maintenance time as well. So IBM Control Desk can extend your existing Maximo implementation and providing one way for managing all of the complex assets, whether they're IT or enterprise. IBM Control Desk is a comprehensive IT asset and service management solution that will help reduce cost and minimize service disruptions. It does so through automated service request handling, efficient change management, and optimized asset management across IT and enterprise domains. So those are the three main parts of Control Desk that we'll be discussing in more depth throughout the presentation. Benefits of the Control Desk, again, reduce total cost of ownership by using one solution, reduce the business risk by using advanced impact analysis and defining automated change procedures that will ensure integrity of existing infrastructure. Also improve efficiency and quality of service by unifying asset change and problem management across IT and the rest of the enterprise. Control Desk is an easy, friendly way for users to request services through ITIL-compliant process automation.
Hey, Christy, did you want me to launch the first poll question?
Yes, please.
Okay. Go ahead and launch that right now. All right, we have 57% voted. We'll get a little bit more. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and close it and then share the results. So it looks like we have about 31% IBM Control Desk, 31% said nothing, and about 25% said other. So go ahead and hide that. And you
Okay. Waiting for my screen to come back. All right. Okay, so we'll be going through again a high-level discussion of the different parts of Control Desk. Control Desk definitely contains a lot more functionality than we could possibly cover during the session, but we're hoping that we'll be able to give a good overview. There are three main parts to having Control Desk. First part is covered with the first two boxes, basically your IT service request, incident, and problem management, what used to be TSRM. You also have your change configuration and release management under governance, as well as IT asset management. So I'm going to take a little bit of time to touch on some of the functionality within each of these boxes. And then again, we'll be moving on to a demonstration within Maximo itself. So talking about the first box, a service desk is designed to act as a central point of contact between the user and IT operations. However, much has changed in recent years as the service desk has developed into a fully functioning business application that not only supports users, but also handles requests from the business itself. The combination of the internet with smartphones, tablets, and other consumer electronic devices has created a more IT-savvy user with expectations of having their needs addressed immediately. The service desk is the primary point of contact for users when there is a service disruption, for service requests, and for some categories of requests for change. For this reason, a good service desk can often compensate for deficiencies elsewhere in the IT organization. However, a poor service desk can give a poor impression of an IT organization. A service desk can deal with various events from users, typically made by using telephone calls, email, or self-service web interface, and walk-up kiosks, among others. We want to touch on within Control Desk is the Self-Service Center. It's a single application that comes pre-configured to allow self-service users to submit service requests, report issues, request services from the service catalog, view solutions, view their assets. They can also view news, which are it's a news section that'll cover bulletin boards from Maximo, and access recent service requests. The Self-Service Center is designed to increase agent productivity as well as end-user satisfaction. Key features, again, the hierarchical navigation, live chat support, the news pod, the request status pod, and my assets pod. And again, we'll see all of these when we get into Maximo for the demonstration. So Service Catalog and Service Request Management work together. Users can request standard services from catalogs and offerings. You can have self-service capabilities for both IT and non-IT functions. We actually have clients that use the self-service center for facilities service requests, not for IT. You can also use them for onboarding new employees. You can search for knowledge solutions and frequently answered questions within the self-service center. Users can also see the status updates of their requests. And the self-service center is also designed to interact with the incident and change management applications within Control Desk. In addition to the self-service center, individual applications are available for the users to perform all of the same functions that they can get from the self-service center. The Create Service Request and View Service Request applications that are also a part of Maximo are still available, again, to provide simplified interfaces with minimal information for the users to create a service request. There is also an actual search solutions application for the users to search for potential solutions before they even submit a service request. Offering catalog, shopping cart, view catalog requests and cart templates, as well as a self-service global search application are some of the other functions that are available within Control Desk. So one of the fun parts of the self-service center itself is being able to set up a live chat for end users. It's basically just a messaging service which allows the users to chat with the service desk directly instead of opening a ticket or calling the help desk. Again, to just simplify that process, hopefully be able to easily answer users' questions without needing to create a service request. This is optional. If the organization has no need for this, this pod can actually be removed from the self-service center. And the second box we're going to talk about is service delivery. So service operation in the context of IT service management is concerned with business as usual delivery and support of services. So we're going to be talking about request fulfillment, incident management, and problem management. Service requests are one of the key components of Control Desk. Users can create service requests for a request to fix a fault, typically an unplanned event that is handled by using incident management process. They can also request small changes, typically repeatable, high frequency, low risk, and low cost changes that have been understood by the business to not require a formal change request. More complex changes must be handled by using the change management process. Users can also submit procurement requests. They can request assets and consumables through the self-service center. This can create a service request that will then follow an approval process and lead to the issue of an item from a store or a purchase order. You can also have the ability to just submit a request for information to assist with general information, complaints, or comments. Within Control Desk, you can create request models for fulfilling requests in a consistent and known manner by using ticket templates and job plans to break down the set of activities that must be performed. This also ensures that the task is performed the same way each time. You can define and publish a fulfillment catalog for self-service access of standardized services. You can define the workflows and approvals, thus ensuring that the SR will always follow the same process and approvals. You can also set up workflows to have certain service requests be pre-approved, and that way you don't have to have additional users touching those service requests. Incident management is the process of restoring normal service operations as quickly as possible to minimize an incident's adverse impact on business operations. In ITIL terms, an incident is any unplanned interruption or reduction in quality of an IT service. Best practice incident management involves immediate service restoration using standard processes of investigation, diagnosis, resolution, and recovery. For this purpose, Control Desk allows you to, same as you do for service requests, for incidents you can define your incident models and predefine the steps that must be taken to handle a particular type of incident in an agreed way. All standard incidents would be handled in a predefined path and with predefined timescales. Within Control Desk, you can also match similar tickets and search known errors, solutions, and historical incidents and problems to help you identify past problems, which can result in faster resolution. You can define automation scripts to help collect information about the incident being experienced by running workflows to help analyze and resolve the incident. You can also use the integrated configuration management tools within Control Desk to help diagnose the impact of an incident, potential problems, and users affected. It's also part of incident management to identify whether an incident is likely to recur and decide whether any preventive action is necessary to avoid this. With problem management, you can raise a problem record in all such cases so that preventive action is initiated. A problem is the underlying error in the infrastructure that is the cause of one or more incidents. So if you have an incident created, it can follow the predefined path, go through the necessary approvals and resolution to get an either immediate resolution or immediate workaround in place so that users can continue doing what they need to do. You would then open a problem to continue to investigate and to find the underlying root cause. Problem records seek to prevent a reoccurrence of incidents that are related to the errors. Problem management is closely related to incident management and benefits from using the same tools with similar categorizations, impact, and priority coding systems. This ensures effective communication when dealing with related incidents and problems. Within Control Desk, you can also set up service level agreements. You can track and report on how each area is following the SLA. Obviously, the SLAs must be reasonable, appropriate, measurable, and achievable. The next box we have is governance. Change management is the practice of ensuring that all changes to information technology assets are carried out in a planned and authorized manner. So this is a key component within Control Desk. It also can be a little bit complicated, so we'll talk through everything that it can do, but I do want to make sure that everyone's aware that it can also be kept as simple as you need it to be in order to make it usable for your organization. Change management starts with the creation of a change request and then continues through the assessment, approval, scheduling, and implementation. We also do expect that there would be a post-implementation review. Change management can be tightly integrated with release management, which is responsible for planning, scheduling, and controlling the deployment of releases into the IT environment. A release can be deployed as a single change or as a group of changes that are related to one another. For example, if the release includes an operating system and a middleware product, these might be deployed through two changes that take place on consecutive weekends. If the first change fails, the second change cannot happen because the release control process ties the two together into a single release, and the release cannot be only partially deployed. Benefits of change management is tracking planned changes, standard changes, normal changes, and emergency changes. So standard changes are things that you have predefined to be pre-approved. You also have normal changes that will follow your typical process, And then emergency changes, where you'll have an exception path that they can follow for approvals. Benefit of change management is also to establish both recurring and one-time only schedules or change windows during which changes can be performed without negatively affecting availability. Enforcement of standard methods and procedures from request for change through the post-implementation review. Another benefit is the control and management of the implementation of those changes that are then approved. So all of these benefits, all of the change management, scheduling your windows, tracking your impacts of your changes can all be done within the control desk change applications. A request for change in the control desk is captured as a process request record. The process request allows for the recording of the requested change from a user who does not necessarily know all of the technical details in order to fully fill out a change request or a change record. So within the change management applications and control desk, you can create and record the change request, whether it comes in as a request for change or starts as a change record itself. You can assess the change, analyze to determine the effect on existing systems, schedule and authorize the change, coordinate the change implementation, and also review and close the change. Release management is the controlled deployment of approved changes within the IT infrastructure. The trigger of the release management process is one or more approved changes. Release management can in many ways be regarded as an add-on to change management. This capability is used for complex changes where the scope of the change is unknown or the changes must be implemented in a specific sequence. Application of fix packs, mass deployment of virus checking, and deployment of an entire application stack across multiple systems are just a few examples of modifications where release management capabilities should be used. Main reason, again, for implementing multiple changes into a release is that you treat the release as a unit when you're scheduling, tracking progress, and obtaining approval. The individual changes that are members of the release still go through the normal change processing for categorization, assessment, and approval before they are added to a release. The objective of release management is to ensure that release and deployment plans are in place, release packages are deployed successfully, that the necessary knowledge transfer to the users or customers takes place, and that there is a minimum disruption to the service and to the organization. So the last part of Control Desk, again, the last large section of Control Desk we're going to talk about is the IT asset management. IBM Control Desk can help you achieve effective management of the entire IT asset lifecycle from the planning through end of life. These capacities help lower cost, mitigate license and regulatory compliance risks, and better align IT with business goals. The extensive list of features that IBM Control Desk provides for IT asset management include inventory management, procurement management, contract management, and financial management. So we're going to talk a little bit of some of the product features specific to IT and how they can help you control today's complex environments, including software license management. One of the leading software solutions for enterprise asset management is Maximo Asset Management, based Maximo. It has been adapted and enhanced over time to support IT asset management, and there are now IT asset specific applications and functionality within Control Desk. Some IT resources must be managed because they represent financial value to your business, and you must adhere to accounting requirements, demonstrate compliance, and manage contractual obligations and claims. Typically, those resources are called assets. Managing IT assets typically involves controlling aspects such as identification, tracking attributes, physical location, ownership, accounting, licensing, warranties, and maintenance contracts. You can also, so assets are more for financial tracking. You can also manage the technical aspects of IT resources. Technical management referring more to the managing of configuration of your resources, as well as how they relate to and depend on one another. It includes management of changes to the resource configurations and the relationships to maintain control of the IT infrastructure and ensure that IT services are delivered according to contractual obligations. In this context, your resources are mostly intangible. They can represent resources such as subnets, virtual systems, and business applications. So when you're managing from a configuration point of view and how items interrelate with each other, Control Desk will allow you to set up configuration items. And that's where you get a lot of the benefit from your impact analysis and change management, is once you have the configuration items set up in Maximo, as well as identifying how they relate and the impacts. Within the IT asset management part of Control Desk, you also have a number of applications for tracking software licenses that represent what is purchased by an organization. You can set up discovery tools to go out and look at what actually exists in your organization, whether it's hardware or software, and then compare it to your planned or expected information based on the data within Control Desk. And obviously, you still have your base Maximo functionality for inventory and purchasing, which allow you to track licenses, assets, spare parts, to track what is owned or on order so that you are not purchasing what already exists, which obviously will result in cost savings for an organization. And then obviously within Control Desk, you still have the same reporting capability that you have within base Maximo. So there are a number of Control Desk specific reports that will be available. Okay. So now we are going to go ahead and go into Maximo itself and take a look at creating an offering, how that offering will be added to a catalog, and then how that displays in the self-service center.
Before you do that, did you want to launch the next poll question?
Yes, please.
Okay. It says, what is your current IT service management status? Okay, I'm not seeing any more votes come in, so I'm going to go ahead and close it, and we will share those results. You can see those percentages. All right, hide that. Back to you, Christy.
All right. Okay, so I've gone ahead and logged into Control Desk. Obviously, I am in as Max Admin, which means I have significantly more applications than your users would ever need to see. And obviously, just like base Maximo, you'll control that through the security groups. And we're going to go ahead and go into the offerings application. I have just some very basic sample data in here. I'll go ahead and open up one of these. So offerings are objects defined in Control Desk that encompass all of the details of a service that can be requested by the self-service users. Offerings can be both IT specific, for example, requesting software or a new VM, and non-IT specific, for example, onboarding a new employee. So you can actually set up offerings that will, again, like we mentioned earlier, tie to job plans, automatically create work orders and route those work orders. So for onboarding a new employee, you could have different steps and different assignees for the tasks of getting the employee login ID, phone, laptop, whatever needs to be done, getting security and badges set up, etc. So within the offering, we have our standard code and then description of the offering itself. You'll set up your offering type. So I'm just going to go ahead and duplicate this one so we can play with it a little bit. We'll call this one MS Project. Of the three types of offerings, service request is most commonly used. So basically it provides the greatest flexibility for request tracking, approvals, and fulfillment automation. So you will normally set up your offerings to create a service request, and then whether that service request turns into another record, you can set that up to happen automatically or through a manual workflow. Descriptive offering, typically used to provide the self-service user with general information. These can include links to services offered outside of Control Desk, for example, to reset a password in another system. Action offering is used when the organization wants to integrate the new offering with an external service URL or application. The action offering is how you would use some of the launch in context functionality to actually give access to an outside URL and allow them to, again, provide actions outside of the system. So again, we want this one to be service request. Typical service group and service fields, just like you use within base Maximo. You can set these here. You can also set them on the ticket template or the job plan that will be applied to the service request. The classification, you'll notice it's a required field, and this is critical. So if you are to go in and use Control Desk and try to set this up so that you do have the self-service center, predefining and spending some time to think through the classifications that you want used on the offerings is key. So this is part of the core of this records really, and it defines how it gets displayed in the self-service center. Also how the record is used moving forward. You want to have your classifications pretty clearly defined ahead of time. Not impossible to change it once you get moving, but spending some additional time up front at defining your classifications will certainly benefit in the long run. Again, I have just very simple data in the system at this point. So I'm just going to go ahead and leave this one as a new or an upgraded software of other. Additional fields within the offering. You do have your fulfillment time with the unit of measure. You can predefine that. Your status, offerings will always start as pending, but they cannot be used until they are changed to active. You have your shipping info required field if you want to force the user to enter where something would need to be shipped. Display initially doesn't actually affect anything on the self-service center. That's for mostly if you have users directly going into the offering catalog. Whether or not the offering uses quantity, which you would expect if you're allowing users to request, request fulfillment. So if they're going to be ordering assets through service requests in the self-service center, you can allow them to indicate if they want one or more than one of those assets. Keywords, this comes into play with a lot of the search functionality that's available within Control Desk, is specifically the ability to do a global search and search across multiple applications to find different records that could apply to what you're looking for. Okay, so you've got the Service Desk offering. This box is going to be checked if you're actually offering an IT service. For example, resetting a password or pretty much anything that'll happen when the user is actually calling in with a problem. So checking this box ensures that the links in the self-service center for this offering come in under the report an issue link rather than request a service. Since this is actually a request, we're just going to go ahead and leave that one unchecked. And obviously you have your frequent requests to show there's a shortcut within Control Desk for frequent requests that will also automatically populate based on the standard offerings that the user tends to use frequently. Comments and ratings, and this is a part of Control Desk where you can actually have the users replying to providing comments and ratings both on requests but also solutions, so that you can track over time how helpful solutions are to the different users. Okay, some of this information at the bottom, I'm just going to talk to just a little bit. This is part of, I guess, what the more advanced part of Control Desk. So within Control Desk, especially within your self-service center, you can have it very simple. Just set up the self-service center with the offerings so that the users have an intuitive way to just electronically request service. So they don't have to call the help desk. But you can also set up validation scripts. These are automation scripts that will actually validate the data that the user is submitting at 3 different points in the process of actually submitting the request. Once the request is submitted, you have different workflows. There are quite a few workflows that actually come out of the box with Control Desk that you can use with your offerings. So you can set it to either follow a workflow or automatically be pre-approved, multiple levels of approval. You can also say what ticket template needs to be applied, if you're going to create a work order and if a job plan should be put on that work order, and what workflow that work order should go through, as well as whether or not that work order should actually be created as a change work order. So again, you can make this as simple as you want. Just get the users to submit a service request in the easiest way possible for the end user, and then use your existing processes that you have today to manage and route that and resolve the service request. Or you can go in again and automate a lot of that following process and then minimizing the number of users that will actually need to touch the record. Some of the other things that you can do with offerings, get into the specifications and presentation tab. So within the offering, and again we'll go into the self-service center and open up an offering and show what it looks like. And that will be under the default presentation. You can also set up custom dialog boxes to use with different offerings. You have the option whether you want to use add to cart and order now buttons, more for if you're requesting assets, things like that. Again, trying to just kind of simplify things for the users as well as use verbiage that they're familiar with from any website out there. You can display the asset field if you do want the users actually submitting requests against specific asset numbers. You can also display price, and this will go into if you're actually requesting software assets, things like that. If your classification has specifications. They will be displayed here. You can also add specifications directly to the offering that are not on the classification itself. You can determine if those attributes are mandatory, hidden, read-only. So you have a number of options down here to, again, completely customize how the information is displayed to make it as simple as possible for the user. So if you did have users reporting issues, you can identify a set of predefined questions that you need them to answer in order to be able to quickly triage and resolve the problem. And if you set those up ahead of time as attributes, you can then use this presentation section to determine which ones should be mandatory for the users to answer before they can submit the request. Okay, so going back to the offering tab, again, this is currently in a status of pending, so we're going to go ahead and make this active. When you do make it active, it's going to go ahead and warn you that it has not been associated with a catalog. So that's what we're going to go do next. So we'll go ahead and add this. We'll go to the catalogs application. We'll add this to the asset catalog. Then save the record, and then the catalog is already active, so we're good to go there. Now we can take a look at how this is actually displayed within the Self-Service Center. And so if you remember from at the beginning of the presentation, we talked about the Self-Service Center, some of the basic sections or pods within. You have your Contact Us. This is where you can have that live chat if it is set up and if it meets the organization's needs. If you don't, this section can actually be hidden completely. My News, that is where users will see bulletin board messages for them. My Requests is all of the requests that have been submitted by this logged in user. So you can see that it'll actually track how many requests they have in the different status. And so this allows them to quickly get this current status of their request without having to call into the help desk again. They can also click on that link and it'll open up some of the details for the view service request, again, showing the status and where it's at, as well as the details that they had put in when they submitted the request. If you are setting up assets with the users and custodians within Maximo, you can also have the My Assets listed here. This is convenient if the users, if they own or work with those assets. Those will probably be some of the assets that they tend to submit requests against. So it just gives them a quick link to submit requests against those assets. Browse solutions, again, we mentioned that you can have a solution catalog defined, and users can also look for previously experienced issues as well as what the solution is to determine if they can solve the problem themselves. If we go into request a new service, this is where our offering is going to show. This also gives a good example of the hierarchy that'll follow. So this will look a little bit like Windows Explorer. So again, trying to make it simple and intuitive for the users. They can click down the tree on the left-hand side or just click into the folders. And again, normally you would have a lot more data in the system, and the hierarchy and the simplicity of just drilling down through the folders becomes a little more obvious. With this, so we do have our new offering. Again, just requesting MS Project. If I had put the asset field here, we could actually require the users to enter the computer that they need MS Project installed on. So the users can go ahead and submit the request, and then this will automatically go in and create a service request. Again, if we had predefined any of the approvals or workflows that this request would follow, it would already be on its way. I'd mentioned that if you do identify within the offering that this is actually a service, then it'll show under report an issue. And this allows users, again, to just report problems that they're having. When you're reporting an issue, you do have the description box to enter additional details about the issue. I mentioned you can have attributes on that classification that you then require the user to answer before they can submit the ticket. You could have, significantly more. You have 5 or 6 questions to, again, to get enough information to be able to triage and resolve the issue. And again, all the user has to do is click Submit Request, and then their service request is created and goes on its way. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead at this time and actually switch back over to the PowerPoint. So we've gone through again, we went through the different, all of the 4 boxes on the screen, the self-service center, which the goal is to simplify the user, the end user experience within Maximo. Service delivery and the tools that are provided to optimize how quickly service requests, incidents, and problems can be approved and resolved. Within change management, again, there are a number of applications that we didn't even touch in with the control desk as far as change management, change windows, schedules, configuration items, impact analysis, etc. And then we also touched on some of the IT asset management functionality that's available. We covered it all at a very high level, focusing just kind of within different sections and the different ways in which it can be used, and how Maximo shops will benefit from the addition of Control Desk. Yeah. So, Stacy, are you still on?
I am.
Okay, if you wanted to take the next couple slides.
I do. So hello, everybody. I am Stacy Miller. I'm Interlock's Director of Marketing, and I wanted to spend just a very quick few minutes to talk to you about what Interlock does and what we do and what we focus on. So our main focus is that we are an IBM Maximo and Control Desk System Integrator. That's all we do every day, all day long, is just Maximo. That's what we focus on. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in the next slide. Our second focus is on our mobility product, which is Mobile Informer. You may have heard of it. It's the only native within Maximo and native to the device mobile product out there. And because the product sits inside of Maximo, we can actually mobilize any Maximo business process, any Maximo add-on, any industry solution, or any customization. We have 4 out-of-the-box apps currently, and we have more coming. The out-of-the-box apps that we have available today are bin counting, work management, self-service requester, and an app specific to airport inspections, and Part 139. Our third business unit is that we are an IBM OEM reseller, which means that if you are anywhere in the world, we can help you with your Maximo needs. Could you see the next slide? So this next slide really just gives you a snapshot of what we do. Like I said, we are 100% Maximo focused. We want to be your Maximo partner. We're gold accredited across North America, which means we're both gold accredited by IBM in the United States and in Canada. And even though Interlock as a company has existed for just about 10 years now, we have people that have been with Maximo since the very beginning of the PSDI era. So we have more than 15 years experience in the Maximo services industry, which means that we bring you not only industry best practices and not only a way to implement Maximo, but how you can best implement Maximo within your industry. We also offer Maximo hosted and managed services, and very exciting, late last year we opened and invested in a support desk in India. So now we offer 24/7 by 365 support services. And lastly, we are an active Maximo community advocate. So that means that we do webcasts like the one that you are currently on, as well as we are an avid supporter of all the Maximo user groups regionally, including the Maximo Utility Working Group, FM Mug, which is coming up, the CAN Mug, which is coming up, and of course, Interconnect. So at this point, I'm going to stop boring you with Interlock's marketing stuff, and I'm going to turn it back over to Christy to answer any of your questions.
All right, so I don't know if we do have any questions. I think we still have a few minutes left if there are any.
I don't see any questions right now, but we can go ahead and launch that last poll question.
All right.
All right, that's up on the screen right now if everyone wants to go ahead and vote. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and close it. It looks like, share it. We had 38% user acceptance was the winner.
And I think that it ties in nicely to some of what we talked about just in terms of starting simple and using a lot of the focus on getting the self-service center and that user interface simplified as much as possible, which goes back to spending the time to get the classification hierarchy and the offerings identified up front. Again, keeping it as simple as possible and then adding to it as you move forward. So again, you can start with a full control desk implementation, but that's a lot. Again, you have the self-service center, service request management, change management, and IT asset management, all the way up to and including discovery tools. So it's a lot. And again, so for user acceptance, again, defining the goals of the organization, and if it is getting that service desk and getting the end user experience to be optimized, set up your classifications, create your offerings, and you can basically be off and running with the self-service center. You can set up your security so that users who log into Maximo go directly to the self-service center. There's no navigation required. And you can make that self-service center customized, again, to meet the needs of the organization. So that, Kelsey, is actually all I have. I think we do have some questions. So what % of clients use Core Maximo? It's not showing me the whole question. What % of clients?
You should be able to undock that. Sorry.
Oh, no, that's all right.
Undock the box.
No worries now. Using Core Maximo to manage their IT infrastructure. So I know that, I'm not sure if you're referring to Interlock or IBM clients. I know within Interlock we do have a number of clients that are just using Core Maximo, but they're also very interested in some of the control desk IT specific applications, the ones that used to be a part of ITEM. Another question was what discovery tools are included with control desk, and there are no discovery tools that are included with control desk, but the ability to integrate with different discovery tools is included. And then there's actually a question also about license management, which I didn't get into the specifics of the software license management within Maximo. As part of this webcast that wasn't covered, we just talked to the fact that those applications do exist within Control Desk. Okay. So I think that pretty much wraps things up. Kelsey, I don't know if we have anything more.
Nope, that's about it. Thank you everyone for attending today's webcast. Feel free to continue any discussions in the Assets and Facilities Management Forum on our IBM Middleware User Community website. The link is located in your chat box right now. And also, again, the recording and slides will be available tomorrow in the webcast archives. You'll receive a follow-up email with a link to those. As you exit, please take a few moments to fill out the post-event survey to help us improve future events. Thank you for your feedback, and this concludes today's event. Thank you, and have a fantastic day.